According to most people, 2024 was a great year for music. According to most people, there are a ton of new songs to come out this year that will be remembered for generations. Lots of new acts broke through this year with big hits. Old Town Road's record for longest time spent at number 1 was tied by a song I literally don't even think I've even heard once. As you may have guessed, I am not most people. My 2024 was mid when it came to popular music. And of course, that means I make mine as well, and I've been doing a top 50 at the end of each year, and man, I'm really excited to make mine this year. I really want to make mine now. Let's make it now. I might have oversold that just a tad. Well, sure, the hit songs were better, and a couple of well-known songs will make this list as well as next year's. I struggled to find anything particularly great. Lots of good songs, like, 8th place songs, but very few great ones that I could justify as a number 1. Either way, there was still enough good music to make a top 50 list. A couple of you OG watchers may find this list parallels 2022 in a lot of ways. Random mood music managed to creep its way back in here, and a lot of them I ain't writing segues for, so I can't promise this list is going to be as over the top as last year's. Rules are going to remain the same as last year, using my overly complicated point system that factors month to month most listened, play count, time listened, and personal opinion to determine as close to an objectively correct placement as possible, and disqualifying any songs that appeared on previous year-end lists, and any songs that are over 20 years old. This isn't a best of 2024 list, just a personal year-end list, so if a song from 2007 spoke to me this year, then that's what's going on the list. But I ain't putting no 90s songs on here, that would just be weird. Anyways, with those stipulations, here's what missed out on making the list. The Other Side of Paradise by Glass Animals. I wish you could see the wicked truth. Hotel Room by The Answers in Between. Black Hole's Solid Ground by The Blue Stones. Shelter by Porter Robinson and Madeon. Breathing Room by 8 Stop 7. Illusion by VNV Nation. The world is just illusion, trying to change you. Settled Down Spin by 8 Stop 7. Running in the Roar of the Wind by the Menzingers. I'm a wreck on the inside. It's so hard to be helpful, but I promise. So given this was not a great year for me with music, a lot of these are going to feel like I don't have a lot to say. So I stepped up the collab efforts and brought in a few folks to help me fill out some of these entries. Remember that I'm just being honest here about what songs spoke to me in 2024. These aren't what's objectively good music or anything, and yeah, sorry, I definitely have my tastes and you'll notice it pretty fast. Although I can say it is more diverse than the last 2 years. But yeah, still not a lot of rap this year. But with GNX and Chromacopia dropping towards the end of the year, I can probably see that changing in 2025. Also note, I am not a music analyst, I am just a music lover who likes and talks about the music that he likes. So a lot of my commentary is based only on personal opinion and taste and in no way constitutes objective fact, and my thoughts are probably not going to be overly complex. So a lot of this list will be contrarian to what others are ranking, but maybe sometimes we'll align if something is good enough. Since this year's list wasn't quite as competitive as last year's list, I'm narrowing down my honorable mentions to the first 20 out, and those songs are number 70, Bad Nature by Nerve. Number 69, nice, Swing and Sway by Grey Wind. Number 68, Red Light by No Such Animal. Number 67, Maybe Man by AJR. Number 66, Are You In There by Say Anything. You're the only one who took me there. Take me there. Number 65, Song to Sing When I'm Lonely by John Frusciante. Signs to be wrong, true to us. Number 64, I'm New Here by The Answers in Between. And worshiping Taylor Swift. Number 63, Is There Really No Happiness by Porter Robinson. Number 62, Clouds in My Eyes by The Dangerous Summer. Number 61, Utopia by Bring Me the Horizon. Number 60, Kitsune Mason Freestyle by Porter Robinson. Number 59, Growing Sideways by Noah Khan. And I move sideways till I forget what I felt. Number 58, Cheerleader by Porter Robinson. It's not fair, 'cause I know. Number 57, Big Island by Pet Sematary. Number 56, Outside by scuttlefuzz. Number 55, Lifeless Creature by Pure Reason Revolution. Number 54, Bad Dreams by Neon Trees. Number 53, Slow Motion by Matt Champion and Jenny. Number 52, Panoramic View by AWOL Nation. And number 51, Pools by Glass Animals. Without any further ado, let's dive on into my top 50 favorite songs of 2024. Kicking things off in 50th place is Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. If you decide to click away from me having it ranked this low, I wouldn't blame you.
First of all, Kendrick has got to be one of the coldest lyricists of all time. And he proved that here in Not Like Us. Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Try to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. Bangers, come on. The whole feud, Kendrick absolutely showed out. And in this song, he cooked as per usual. In the end, the song is super easy to listen to anyway, and it's crazy when you really dig into everything that he said. This is a song that has been all over my playlist this year and will continue to be.
You can make a top 20 list of just amazing moments in this song alone, but I think what takes the cake is the monologue towards the end where Kendrick compares Drake's career to the entire history of racism in the United States.
No, you're not a colleague, you're a fucking colonizer.
Arguably the best diss rap ever, certainly the best I've ever heard. Fantastic stuff. Number 49. Some of these songs don't need segues, just there they are. They sound good, they aren't remarkable, but they do their job well enough to set a mood or feeling. And yep, this is another one of those Love You 3000 type tracks where I don't really have much to say on it, but I listen to it enough that it's here anyway. I have a way of describing this genre of music nowadays. I call it I've run out of song requests core. For those less inclined, this is referring to the Nightbot music request command. It generally defaults you to Monster Cat playlist once your stream's song requests have all played. Usually you can sniff out a song like this right away, because you go from, whatever you had actually requested to play to overly clean, polished, oftentimes way too loud synth drums. While I can't exactly justify ranking this above Not Like Us, I can definitely defend it as a pretty damn good track of its era. It's mood music, leave me alone. Number 48. Chappell Rowan is pretty great, huh? She had a breakout year this year, and her album was pretty dang good if I can say so myself, but let's be real, I don't think she's cut out for stardom. Like, yeah, she has a great talent and has some good tunes to back up her rise to fame, but I think she'll settle into a niche like Lorde or Juliana Hatfield. Absolutely not a flop, just not an Ariana Grande or Sabrina Carpenter. Hey, you know what? If she decides to reject stardom, I have a good candidate to nominate as her replacement. Wow, Mex ranked a straight up pop song? What is this, a crossover episode? Spoiler alert, there's more of those coming. But yeah, this song was just too catchy and soulful to not fall in love with. Highly recommend. Number 47, Painted Faces by No Such Animal.
And if I love this movement, would you pretend that you love into let everyone down?
I know I sound like a broken record, but I like things I'm familiar with. Like, you know, songs that have your typical verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. I'm not picky, except with how that chorus sounds. And this has a fantastic, catchy chorus melody, and I love the early 2000s pop-punk kind of motif here. Fun fact, someone actually messaged me on Stats FM asking if I lived in Utah since I'm so into Utah bands like No Such Animal and The Strike. My response? No, I just like good music. Great track here. Number 46. So, have y'all been keeping tabs on furry music lately? Furry music is going through a renaissance right now. Before 2020, you had two major genres in furry. Electronic, usually directly inspired by a Lap Fox Tracks project of some sort, and those directly inspired by car seat headrest. This, of course, didn't encompass everyone. Skuro-'s been doing his thing for a while now, and you still had your Rhubarb Bears, your Coulson Grangers, your Fox Amores, your Matthew Ebels, what have you. But furry emo? That was an untapped niche, and goddamn this one bites. Probably aged the best out of the Everender tracks I like this year. I also think the vocal performance and guitar work is peak here. Also have to appreciate that hushed pre-chorus before the chorus kicks in. Awesome track, check this out. Number 45. So my rules are as follows. Anything that has made a previous top 50 cannot be eligible for the list in any following years. But before I started doing these videos, I only kept top 20 lists. So say something was almost top 20 to some unmeasurable degree back in, 2010. Is that still eligible? Well, I haven't had to think about that, but we're certainly testing that limit here.
Every voice part of the sound, the noise that doesn't cease.
Man, my high school self just called and damn was he awkward. Does anyone at all seem to remember that time in the fandom when everyone loved VNV Nation? Or was that just me? I mean, I talked to a lot of EU furs back then, so maybe that had some weight on it. Anyways, VNV Nation slaps and I will hear no claims otherwise. This beautiful bonus track starts off slow and builds throughout before opening up into an expansive soundscape towards the end, with Ronan's higher register coming in clutch. Love the delivery of the song's title at the end of the line there. Amazing track, fondly remembered. Number 44. Porter dropped an album this year. I know, this is where I would cut away to whatever Porter track is hiding behind me. You know, I fully expected a Porter album year to have at least 5 or so cuts make the list. That did not happen. While I certainly got Smile, it was probably just a little too sugary for me. So no, Porter does not have possession of 10% of this list. But there is an artist that does. Here's the first from that album, the closing track. The thing about Coming Up to Consciousness is that every song, or at least most songs, seem to have a running theme of no real chorus, but rather build up to a beautiful outro where the instrumentation picks up, the vocals get faster, maybe even double time it. John Courtney delivers the lead vocals to this haunting and gorgeous outro that heralds the end of possibly the best album I heard in 2024. If you love things like Arcane Roots, Porcupine Tree, Cradle of Filth, things of that nature, I'd highly recommend this. Number 43. It is becoming increasingly obvious. I can deny it no longer. I am white.
Make You Fall in Love Again is about the ultimate vulnerability of a relationship. It's about recognizing that love isn't something you can force, no matter how much effort, hope, or longing you pour into someone. If their feelings aren't there, you can't create them. Glass Animals captures this with its signature dreamy, introspective style. It's not about anger or blame, it's about acceptance even when it hurts. The lyrics are poetic but simple, reflecting the rawness of heartbreak. There's a wistful tone, almost as if the speaker is struck between letting go and holding on. Glass Animals has a way of creating vivid imagery, blending personal pain with abstract concepts. It makes you feel like you're in a hazy dream, one where reality is sinking but it hasn't fully settled yet. At its core, it isn't just about heartbreak, it's about coming to terms with things beyond your control. It's that quiet moment of self-reflection when you realize you deserve a love that's mutual, even if it means walking away from something you wanted so badly to work. Glass Animals takes a universal theme and delivers it in a way that both feels deeply and personally universally relatable. If you're ever in the mood to dive into your feelings or need a song to help you process that ache, this track is a must listen.
Number 42, 6 Ears by Everender.
I'm sorry I'm caught up to you. The curse of burden has stolen you.
So I actually invited Kez from Everender on to comment on their own track, but the ending of this hook with "But Maybe You're Right," I don't know, the bait and switch there, I don't know why I love that so much, but I really do. It feels like this self-deprecating dig with a ton of smolder, and I don't know why I love it so much, but I really do. Anyways, let's see what Kez has to say about 6 Ears.
Hi, this is Kez from Everender. I am the vocalist, instrumentalist, producer, everything doer in the band. I have been doing this band for almost 7 years, and I am really excited to have a bunch of songs in the top 50 this year, which is wild. I'm super grateful, super honored. The first one I want to talk about is 6 Ears. 6 Ears is a song that means a lot to me. I actually was binging a lot of Lego Monkey Kid last year. I fell in love with the show, the story of Sun Wukong and the 6-eared macaque. I was just like, this is incredible. I ended up writing 6 Ears about those two specifically. And it's also kind of a queer allegory, if you want to look at it that way, in a certain light. But I'm really, really happy with that song. It's super heavy where it needs to be. It's honest. It is very emotional for me. I am just so stoked on how that song came out, and I'm glad that a lot of people seem to really like it this year. So thank you so much.
Number 41, Betrayal by Pure Reason Revolution. Lovely little ballad from this band. Love the liberal use of the falsetto and how Chloe's vocals accent the chorus almost like another instrument. I'm keeping this brief since we have a few more songs to cover from this album, but either way, I do heavily recommend this. Number 40. My biggest struggle with 2024 as compared to 2023 was that last year I had half the script written in my head before the year even ended. But this year I'm struggling to think of even a single gag I had going in. There's only a small handful of constants throughout this list that I've wanted to touch on for more than a month or two. And one of them was definitely that furry music kicks ass.
Dance along the fault line, feel the shaking in your bones, lose the tension in my throat.
Hi, hello, hey, it's me. I bet you thought you were rid of me. You are not. So another song that I had in the top 50 this year, which, again, I'm so honored to have this many songs mean something this year that's really cool. Temporary, which kind of shocked me how many people really like that song. It came off the heels of an album I did called Grief Counseling in 2023, and that record I wasn't 100% happy with. The production, the performances, it was a really tough time in my life. I was struggling to get that album done. And so listening back to it, it's not my best work. It's not what I wanted it to be entirely, but I'm still happy with what it ended up being. But I think Temporary needed to happen. It was my reset. It was the first song I demoed, first song I released for Go Out in Gold. And it did set the tone. It really helped me break out into feeling more confident in my songwriting, in my performances. I felt just a connection again with Everender that I hadn't felt in a while. So it means a lot that it ranked the highest of the Everender songs on this list. That's super cool. And if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about a couple of my own favorite songs from 2024. The first being Contend by Bit Depth. This song is driving. It is so guitar heavy. It has phenomenal vocals. The lyrics I think about all day, every day. That's not a joke. It is perpetually in my head. I want so badly to be able to sing it live. It's so anthemic. I am just Bit Depth, incredible band. Check out the Herdbound EP. It will change your life. Second song is Noise Artifacts, Heat Death. It is one of the most beautiful, poignant songs I've heard in my life. It is heart-wrenching. It makes you feel just a whole spectrum of emotions. Beautiful vocals, phenomenal production, just an expertly crafted track off of an even more expertly crafted EP, Log Off and Go Outside. I highly recommend it. But yes, Noise Artifact, one of my favorites in 2024. And the last one I want to mention is Origami Angels, Feeling Not Found. It's a record that came to me when I really needed it. I had listened to Origami Angel in the past. I was a big fan of Somewhere City back in 2019. And it did really take a lot for me to just kind of sit down and be like, I'm going to listen to this new album. But Feeling Not Found is phenomenal. The title track itself is the last song on the record, and I have such a closeness to it. It means a lot to me. I relate to the lyrics very deeply. It's just a really cool riff that goes into just the most sing-along chorus you've ever heard. In the end of the song, you cannot help but just be a part of it. The solo crushes, everything about it is great for someone like me who's trans, who's Therian, who maybe has questioned their identity in the past. And, you know, to have this vocalist be just so loudly proclaiming, no matter how much the world wants me to change, like, I'm going to continue to be who I am. And I'm like, that's so beautiful. I love that. Anyway, that's 3 bands, 3 incredible projects from last year that I loved. And thank you so much if you listened to Everender, if you cared about anything I did last year. I appreciate you. And thank you for having me on this list. It means the world. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Super reminiscent of the mid-2000s emo scene in all the best ways. Rich with a great vocal melody, excellent screaming guitar that's surprisingly clean, and killer percussion to back it up. I also appreciate that Kez uses their singing voice, and the screams and the roars common in the genre are used sparingly and as accents. Love this track. Number 39. I mean, like, I'm really white. Love the vocal production and the buzzing synth background on this. It's a really nice track. Check it out.
Have you ever felt like at the exact same time you want to do so many different things and yet sit there and do nothing at all? Have you ever felt like you both want to hide away in your house and break free into the world? Have you told yourself over and over and over again that you're doing okay when you're really not, to where you're at the point where you can't tell if you're feeling good or feeling like shit? Do you have ADHD? No matter who you are or how you're feeling, I believe that anyone can relate to this song in this day and age. And it helps that it's an absolute banger.
Number 38, Worship by Pure Reason Revolution. This particular track actually has what would be the closest thing to what you'd call a hook. Really nice, dreamy, and ethereal sounding vocal performance with a haunting melody that can capture you pretty easily. It's great stuff. Number 37. Okay, so one of my longtime stream in-jokes on Twitch, by the way, I have a Twitch if y'all didn't know. I'm not as good of a streamer as I am a video maker, and I'll own that. But this little banter that my friend and PNG artist Bonsai Martin and I do is called Martin Facts, where me or one of my community members asks Bonsai to list off some amazing facts about martins. Those facts are usually as follows. 1, long. 2, soft. 3, egg. 4, tree. With a few others that we can mix and match from time to time. I mean, just look at them! These adorable little arboreal crepuscular mustelids. Aren't they cute? Hey, what's that song in the background? Yep, it's time again for our yearly Name I Can't Pronounce entry for this list. This one actually directly translates to Winter in My Heart, which is actually quite poetic if I can be honest. And Moya Michel's vocals are very lovely, powerful and soulful, while still being a little bit fragile for the song's delivery. But that bombast in the chorus is such a great contrast. I will say the vocals are maybe a tad overprocessed, especially in the bridge, it's where it's most noticeable, but it's a good little gem, even if I can't read any of the lyrics. Number 36. You may notice a trend here. Some of these songs were just on my playlist for a few months, you know, not long enough for me to craft any clever or interesting commentary, but long enough to make the list based on play count alone. Compared to my last 2 lists, this is likely the list I care the least about if I could be honest. Like, let's put it this way, I had 3 or 4 songs from the 70s that were in my top 100, a bunch of revisits from previous years, and just not much new stuff was doing it for me. Like this, for example. It's certainly number 36 song of the year. You could argue that this production is a little too clean and polished for this cover of such a classic track, but I actually love the acapella delivery on the first hook before the instrumentation kicks in. Really nice cover to not think about too much. I'll just slap a recommendation down and move along. Number 35. Huh. Not every day you get to feature someone from your Discord server on your year-end list.
Why you mad though? Looking like you mad broke. Popping up on me, then sneaking out on me with mad hoes. You a clown though, circus come to town.
Why does this song sound so familiar? Oh, wait, because it's mine. First of all, I want to say that I am super honored to have made this list. This is a huge honor, let alone to be this high up on it is kind of cool. A song that I made before I learned all the techniques that I use today might actually call for a remaster. Clown is a song that's about one of my ex who thought he was getting away with everything by putting on one hell of a show that I absolutely saw past, and even wrote the song in his bedroom while he was at work, though I don't think this song made his year-end list. Plus, as being one of the first songs that I wrote that was my transition into the pop rap phase that I went into, out of the rap phase, it was a little out of my comfort zone, so it was a pretty big shift for me, and I'm really happy to see it get some attention.
I love me a bitter breakup song, and I gotta compliment Yeltsin's vocal production and flow here. Great underrated track. Check it out. Number 34. Okay, so this is an odd one. In 2005, I was listening to my local radio station, 93.3 The Planet, and they were doing their own year-end countdown. A top 93 since their station was 93.3, which was cute. And right at the beginning of the list, 91st or 92nd was a particular song, and it was a goddamn earworm. But I couldn't really understand more than a few of the lyrics, so I eventually gave up trying to Google the track. For 18 years, I could not find this track, until I asked someone in Spectrum Pulse's Discord server and sang the melody and whatever lyrics I remembered. Someone immediately identified the song. Barely making this list based on age, which makes sense because I barely could find it in time for it to. But here it is, at long last, an absolute banger of an alt-rock track that sadly lost to time here in the States. But this was apparently a big hit in the UK, and well-deserved too. I love David McCabe's snarling delivery in the hook, and especially in the outro. One of the grooviest little alt-rock tracks I've heard. Worth the wait. Number 33. Let's go ahead and pull a hat trick. Third straight year featuring her work, so by this point I've heard enough Hannah Jocelyn to know that Hannah generally doesn't stick to traditional pop song structures, and if she's my introduction to broadening my horizons in that regard, I welcome my future taste in avant-garde experimental queer pop. I mean, just listen to the ethereal, dreamlike beauty in this bridge. Such wistful yearning for a relationship to some degree be real and tangible, captured beautifully. Anyways, Hannah actually volunteered to send me a short snippet of commentary for her track, so I'm going to read that off here. I was looking in a friend's eyes while talking to them and noticed the beautiful outer ring, which I learned is called a limbal ring. That's a really intense thing to notice and say about someone, especially a friend. So from there I developed a song about the weirdness of desiring physical and emotional proximity without sexual or romantic connotations. How do you express that to someone, especially if they're queer? The ace community calls it sensual attraction. But even that sounds more loaded than it actually is. Musically, it's very sparse and went through so many variations, sounding like everything from XTC to Phil Collins to Churches. Ironically, given the lyrics, I decided not to overthink it. Another gorgeous track from one of my favorite indie artists. Number 32. Sometimes just gotta ask Shadow the Hedgehog what he's listening to. I made a reference to Cradle of Filth earlier this year, but this edges closer to that somewhat pretentious theatrical genre of metal, but instead of being cringe and edgelord, this is more refined, cleaner, and with a killer vocal delivery on that dramatic swell into the final chorus and the outro. I'm a sucker for good album send-offs, and this one absolutely sends it out with a bang. Great stuff. Recommended for anyone who likes melodic metal. Number 31, Useless Animal by Pure Reason Revolution. Can't provide too much varying commentary when 5 Pure Reason Revolution songs made the list without sounding like a broken record, but this might be one of the best choruses on the album. The atmosphere here is impeccable, with the harmonies adding a great layer to the gorgeous arrangement. Great stuff. Number 30. I took a couple shots at Eden last year for his indie electronic R&B sound, not capturing me as much as his earnest, lyric-driven electronic days did. I mean, for real, look at this. But you can't really compare to his songs Drugs, Sex, Gravity, Fumes, Times Like These. Guys, Times Like These is an incredible track on his back catalog, and I cannot recommend it enough.
This is how we roll. It'll be
But is it really fair to take shots at an artist for making the music they want to make? After all, isn't it a win-win if he can still deliver?
And by the time you wake up on the other side of the river, kept my face dry, don't say you feel different now.
First off, ZZZ is intriguing in itself. On the surface, it's simple of sleep or dreaming, but in the context of the song, it feels more like a metaphor for disconnection, both from the world and perhaps oneself. Eden has a way of taking simple concepts and giving them layers. This track is no exception. The lyrics in ZZZ are fragmented and raw, almost like thoughts spilling out in real time. Eden captures that late night state where your mind races with everything unresolved. Lines like, "You can't love me, you just like the attention," are brutally honest and hit hard. There is an underlying sense of frustration, vulnerability, and maybe even resignation. It's like he's caught between wanting to hold on and knowing he needs to let go. One of the most striking aspects of the song is its dynamics. It ebbs and flows with the quiet moments that feel like whispers and crescendos of emotional outbursts. The windows are lyrical content. It's not just a song, it's an emotional roller coaster. If you've ever felt lost in your thoughts, this song will resonate. It's a reminder that sometimes the messiness of life and love is where we find most truth.
Mid-video break here, just throwing this out there. This video is not monetized. I am not even going to try to monetize it because of the copyrighted music all throughout. So if you feel compelled and enjoy what I'm doing here, I have my Patreon in the description. Just $4 a month gets you access to all these videos at least one day, usually 2, before everyone else. And all tiers get your name in the credits. For $5 a month, you get your avatar in the credits as well. If you can't do the monthly, I do encourage tips for the work I put in. See the description for links to my Coffee and my PayPal. Thanks again, and enjoy the video. Number 29. I mean, like, painfully white.
despite the darkness, some of these days, wintergreen cannot shine your radiance. Wintergreen under my
Thank you, Canada friend who introduced this to me. This is just such a nice cup of hot cocoa and validation that I really needed to hear in an otherwise trying year. Anyways, Canada friend, anything to say on this song?
Hey, hi, hello, everybody. My name is Jezza, and I'm here presenting the number 29 slot, Wintergreen by the East Pointers. The East Pointers are a band from Atlanta, Canada, which is also where I am from. Their goal with their music is to be able to merge the traditional Celtic tunes that we hear on the East Coast with some more modern mixing and mastering techniques in music. With Wintergreen, you can hear this very well. They have the synthesis layers in the background, they have the kick drums, and some more modern techniques for mixing and mastering in general. On top of that, it's a very uplifting melody. It just makes you feel good to listen to. It's just a wonderful experience overall with a really positive vibe and a unique way of bringing some traditional music to the masses.
Number 28.
Hold up, let me look into your eyes again.
When I make con videos, sometimes I get spoiled for choice on songs, and sometimes I just don't have any music to choose from. This year I had to run a poll between 6 songs to choose from for my furry music video, and this is the song that got the least number of votes. My response is, why? Ah yes, the other band I listened to that got folks thinking I'm from Utah. Gotta say, both recent albums from this band have been absolutely stellar. But yeah, this just screams con soundtrack, especially the belting of Rock This Town. A love letter to early 90s and late 80s synthwave, and ultimately another fantastic track from this band. Look forward to hearing more. Number 27. Spotify has been kind of annoying lately. Guys, I've listened to this song by Mooney you've been recommending to me for over a year now. I do not like it. Leave me alone. Sometimes, though, Spotify just gets it right.
Trying to keep it up, the constant flood is not enough. The world is changing, pain and oxygen, they always win. The consequences only human nature now. Do I even believe what I'm talking about?
Finally, some good alt-rock in 2024. Surprised I'd somehow missed this band for a couple of years. Reminiscent of the good adult alternative from the late 90s and early 2000s. You know, the stuff that mom let you listen to that wasn't insufferably ballsless or lame. Kinda like Guster or Keen. Really love the chorus and vocal delivery here. Beautiful track. Look forward to hearing more. Number 26. Show Pony by Glass Animals.
So pony, make it burn. Smile
album opener to one of the more pleasant surprises of 2024, this song acts as a table of contents for the rest of the album, sharing the experience of a troubled relationship from both sides, oftentimes bordering on manipulative or outright abusive from the male in the picture, while the female in the relationship is described as the show pony, faking their own happiness and trying to convince themselves they're okay when they're not. I love the imagery on display here in the lyrics, and I guess I've finally come around on Dave Bailey's Winnie the Pooh vocal delivery. By the way,
now you're coming back to show us that girl, so roll those credits cause the sequel's gonna hurt.
Best 3 seconds on the album. Check this out. Number 25. I mean, repeatedly reciting a word I just learned like I'm playing dress up with it. That level of whiteness. Ollie Murs, because Canada needed a Bruno Mars too, and Dance With Me Tonight is just Dear Future Husband if it were performed by Rixton. Anyways, while I can defend the fun, upbeat catchiness, I cannot defend the cheesiness, so here's Jezza to do just that.
Coming in at number 25 is Dance With Me Tonight by Ollie Murs. Do you ever have songs that you just want to listen to when you just want to feel happy and you just want to kind of move and groove a little bit? This song is the perfect embodiment of that for me. Sometimes I just need to get up and, release all that wiggly energy by dancing, and this is one of those perfect songs for it. It has that old school kind of almost swing feel, and it's just such a joyous, wonderful song to dance to. Absolutely in love with this one. In terms of my personal top 3 songs from 2024, I have, in no particular order, Shallow Water by Elderbrook, we have Chariot by The Midnight, and we have Words With You by Chromeo.
Number 24. I think it's a requirement that queer folks like me like at least one little happy-sounding, flamboyant, pop starlet kind of song. You know, the kind of music that you'd see in a voguing battle. And I am not at all immune to them when they are this damn good.
I've been looking north, south, east, west, every direction to find one like you. That pure connection, ooh, it's a crime how.
So my friend Mezcal was actually tapped to review this song by Met, but God, I love how energetic and just breezy and positive and uplifting that initial first verse is. Anyways, what do you have to say about it, Mezcal? Bet by Met was probably one, if not my favorite musical discovery I made in 2024. She just brings this fresh sound and joy to her music that fits nicely into the frantic soundtrack that 2024 had. As a dancer, I've also been absolutely obsessed with her music videos, which do an amazing job at visualizing the songs she makes, and they have great choreography sprinkled throughout. More people should definitely give this artist a listen, especially since she is at the beginning of her career and can only see bigger and better things for her as time progresses. Number 23. Yume by Floya. This was one of my more anticipated albums of the year after last year's single Willows broke through to become my second favorite song of 2023. I've compared this artist to Def Havana with just a touch of early 90s synth campiness, and the outro synth backing sounds like it came off an early 2000s U2 album. Please don't cancel me for these comparisons, even if they're the slightest bit of a stretch. Trying to describe sounds and what my ears hear is very difficult, so please don't bully me in the comments. I will get very flustered and apologize profusely. Please don't do it. Oh no, oh gosh, oh no. Number 22. Ever just have a song in your playlist for months and be like, when did I add this?
These are my lights and my Psycho 69.
Sometimes I just look at my Spotify listen stats and raise an eyebrow. Then when I make my list, I look again and I'm like, wow, there it is. My number 22 song of the year. A really good rock track synonymous with the White Stripes, Bad Flower, or the Bluestones with a nice thumping rhythm you can tap your foot along with. Love the delivery of Psycho 69 in the hook there. Good little driving track. Check it out. Number 21. And a year that was stacked to the brim with a bunch of great 14th or so favorite songs of the year, but not much else worse or better. It was nice to find just a little bit of familiarity. I Wish That You Would is a wistful, dreamlike power pop track about a one-sided edging session. No, for real, the lyrics to the song, while they don't spell it out, are about we won't have sex, even though we want to. But it's a little deeper than that. There's a past relationship between the main character and the former lover in question, but I can relate to that, still feeling attraction to the good of a past experience while discarding the bad of it. I've had relationships like that. Either way, you don't listen to The Strike for any deep insight, as well written as well metered as they tend to be. You listen to it for dreamy and melodic synthwave, and this is one of their best in that regard. Number 20. If this next entry was under a Jeopardy category, I'd put them right up there with Over It, Lost Prophets, and Faber Drive 4, pop punk artists I never thought I'd see on my list again.
Coming back to earth, crashing through the walls now. I feel the crowd.
If I had a nickel for every time a punk or punk equivalent act had 1 year in my top 10 and never showed up again in my top 20, I'd have a quarter's worth. Yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but at least I can buy some runts from the candy dispenser. Yeah, this song is actually surprisingly good, with a nice chorus melody and vocal performance from AJ Perdomo. But my favorite part is the end of the second chorus, with the multi-track vocals heralding the guitar lead for the bridge. It's truly a beautiful piece of alternative emo, and it certainly belongs here. Number 19. There's this genre of music that's been on my mind lately, and I don't have a name for it. It's like SoundCloud rap, but it's usually breezier, led by more acoustic instruments, more upbeat sounding, more expressive, and usually with a clean production behind it. There's one very obvious example I can pull up here, and it was one of the biggest hit songs of 2020.
Why you always in the mood? Walk around like you're brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play.
Another example is I Spy by Kyle from like 7 years ago, being one of the earlier examples of this. Whatever you call it, I kind of like it, because while at its lowest point it can be a little obnoxious, but I think at its best the ceiling is a lot higher.
Up off the highway, I've been having migraines. I've been waiting for a while to have it my way. Oof, just a boy acting like a goof. I got 55 voices saying.
Remember what I said about artists I never expect to see here again? Well, here's one for you. Now watch me go listen to their back catalog and prove myself wrong. Love the nice soaring hook on this earworm of a track. And while the lyrics are a bit basic, this is an all-around jam of a track. Great work. Number 18. Aha!
Fucking hell, dude.
Sounds like someone is AJRing in here.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Max, can you knock? This is embarrassing.
It's okay, Mort. Everyone needs to AJR sometimes. There's no shame in it, friend.
Somehow liking an AJR song in my mind is dirtier than the bit that we're doing.
It's 2085 and we're old as shit. Whatever. Hey, I hate to have to die for.
So yeah, I can't fucking stand AJR. Okay, it's nothing personal against them. They seem like fine, likable people. I just could never wrap my brain around the popularity of their music. Their songs are like if middle schoolers wrote commercial jingles. Clearly they're very talented when it comes to production and writing insanely catchy hooks, but like, they have always come off as idiot savants to me. When one of your best sounding songs prior to this is based off a SpongeBob line, I have honestly tried giving their music multiple chances to like their stuff, but even their best songs do very little for me. So why 2085? Why this one? On a surface level, yep, this is unmistakably AJR. Same overpolished production and same middle schooler crap lyrics. How the fuck did this end up at number 6 on my Song of the Year list?
Pause if you'd like to take a look.
Well, there's 3 things that I can think of. 1, I'm in my 30s now, so yearning for a bygone era of things that don't exist anymore and mulling over past mistakes is a big mood. 2, there's a humanity that just kind of filters through the corporate clouds like little sun rays that I don't normally see or feel in their other songs, particularly in the second half of the song. Yeah, the second half is crudely stapled onto the first, but with it being a genuine send-off to their dying father, I felt that. And finally, 3, sometimes it takes a cover version to show the strengths of a song as a song. I'm going to shout out YouTube user Han for creating a beautiful, smoky acoustic cover of this song. It made me realize that the song itself is actually good. If you're like me and you're usually in the AJR shit is stupid camp, I dare not suggest that the song is going to change your mind, but keeping a quirky honest, yeah, somehow the song ended up one of my favorite songs of the year. Some garbage is okay, but I don't know, I still feel conflicted about it. Max, what would you like to say about this song?
Well, AJR trying to put together a Mariana's Trench album and actually sticking the landing pretty well wasn't on my bingo card. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch on the Marianas Trench comparison, but the intro and reprise, my two biggest highlights from Maybe Man, certainly gave me that vibe. Also, Jack Met is no Josh Ramsey. But yeah, the reprise of Maybe Man at the very end was extremely cathartic and a great send-off, and I won't lie, created a good emotional response from me. And that's the biggest praise I think I can ever give AJR.
Mex, are you ashamed of me?
Ashamed of you? Bitch, I'm proud of you. You ranked the song like a dozen positions higher than me. That takes balls.
More balls than singing a doo-wop cod reggae song to a SpongeBob sample about trying to become famous while simultaneously becoming famous? God, I'm lightheaded.
Number 17. You can imagine my face when the first single from this album dropped. God, that screaming guitar leading up to that outro is amazing, which is why it's still my favorite song off the album to this day. It starts as a slow burn that builds into a wild ride of a send-off. Absolutely fire track, the best song off of my favorite new album of 2024. Number 16. Oh, 100 Gex. I'll eventually come around to you. But I guess I like my hyperpop and queercore a little more messy and loud. No, not black dresses. That's the audio equivalent of sensory overload to me. I don't know, maybe I just want something in between? I mean, I guess if you're going with unapologetically queer hyperpop while trying to be as messy as possible as stylistic choice, none of this overly processed sound design, none of these pitch-corrected vocals, I think you might just be better off committing to the bit. This song is just an unprocessed, raw, and visceral jam where the vocals are barely legible over the wall of noise, but the melody and musical ideas are still very prevalent and stand out. I said this a couple years ago with a song called You're My Friend by Flashlights, which was an 84-second jam of pure unbridled noise in my top 15. Sometimes you just want to go hard and fast for 90 seconds. Except this one's nearly 4 minutes long. This is surprisingly similar to You're My Friend in sound and arrangement, actually. And that chorus is incredibly anthemic despite being buried in the noise. But that's why I love this track. Fantastic work by one of my favorite discoveries of 2024. Number 15. So in 2010, I was really into this band called the Handsome Furs. You might recollect this name if you watched my second album exchange. And my absolute favorite song by them was this odd little synth pop track called Niet Spasiba.
Feel restless inside the hotel, but I let you sleep. Let you sleep.
So to hear basically a chill out version of it in 2024 was not something I expected. And the award for cutest Spotify profile pic goes to, man, forget whatever Rit Momney does, this is my kind of chill out. Take the simple repetition of, say, a Russian futurist track and the chill out vibes of Andrew Apple Pie with maybe a little more tension and a hypnotizing and understated vocal performance, and you have this. Absolutely amazing mood song. It goes hard as hell during a thunderstorm. Do not let this one pass you by. It's gorgeous. Number 14. So the way I got my guest features in this was I just told folks, either former collaborators or friends of mine, just to put their name next to any songs on my list that they want to cover. And to my surprise, no one picked this one, as it's one of the bigger hits on my list. But one thing about me is I like the rare occasion where my taste in music is validated. And it wasn't validated in the form of others foaming at the mouth to cover it. No. That was reserved to Not Like Us, where no less than 3 people wanted that one. But boy, can I tell you the pure catharsis I felt when I saw one of my favorite music critics rank this as his #1 hit song of the year. And I can say, with no doubt, it's the best she has ever done. Proof there is no God. Everyone's trashing on this album. I mean, sure, there's only like 3 or 4 good songs on there out of the 31 tracks on it, but honestly, I don't expect a Taylor album to get me too hype at all, nor do I expect half the album to end up on my playlist or anything, well, except Midnight's. But goddamn, did this one hit me. The bait and switch that follows I'm Having His Baby fits so incredibly well with the context of this album, and really shows just how great of a writer Taylor is, both in the sense of being really good at developing meta context, but also making it work within the overarching story. And the multi-track bombast at the beginning of the chorus absolutely slaps. This is fantastic stuff. And if you're still looking for your first good Taylor song, start here. Number 13, I've learned my lesson. Just because an artist is 20 years into their career does not mean they're washed. Hell, in this case, from my understanding, they didn't even peak until about year 12.
Hey y'all, so Bayside is a band I've known about since I was in high school, literally 2 decades ago. But I never really ended up giving them a shot when I was younger, and I never really knew why. Now seemed as good a time as any to give them a listen, and wow, what a good choice. They've got a wonderful mix of nice driving riffs, clear, cutting vocals, and a nice mix of speed throughout even this one song. The themes in The Devils are honestly very relatable, especially for many folks right now. Pulling at the feelings of being overwhelmed, pushing through it just to keep going, and feeling left behind, and how that shapes decisions and feelings toward others. All in all, it's a solid song that got me looking to go through their back catalog to catch up on what I missed.
Number 12. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, sure. I had Trying to Feel Alive as my top track of 2021, which, if excluding Dullside, is still the least popular track from Nurture. But least popular doesn't always equate to hardest to defend. Exhibit A of the latter. You have Porter at his most vulnerable in the face of music critics. Oddly enough, most of his ire in his live shows, from what I've seen, seems to be directed at Anthony Fantano, a critic who actually liked Nurture. And here's the thing, I get Smile. I understand it. I know how it feels to have my work publicly criticized, and I understand you'd want to retreat inward and focus on the good you've done. I get the concept of painting a caricature of yourself as a tactic of self-deprecation, and I certainly get the frustration of parasocial relationships and that you really just can't return the love that they're giving you. A lot of this is going to be messy, going to make you feel like the asshole, going to be fast and overwhelming, but this self-aware display doesn't by default make it sound good. Except here. Here it is. The outro here is awful, like actually some of the worst work Porter's ever done. The lyrics are painfully thin-skinned. The pacing is sickeningly Gen Z coded, but goddamn can Porter still write a magical hook. Easily the best on the album, and the brittleness in his vocals here are top-notch. For all its faults, I can't even remotely dislike it. Good track, even if I can't really recommend. Number 11. If trans and genderqueer folks gain one thing out of 2024, it's the right to be bitterly fucking angry. So I know what it felt like in 2009 when I was first coming out, first recognizing and owning who I was. And I knew there was a world out there ready to burn me alive for my perceived affront to their religious beliefs. Hell, I lost online friends after coming out, and I became paranoid about anyone I perceived as someone who wouldn't like me. You know, the good old boy types. This song embodies that fear from a trans perspective. Sure, it feels good and freeing to come out, but as the adage goes, you're coming out for the rest of your life. It's a battle that never ends so long as our perceived taboo of non-cisgendered, non-straight, non-white folks stays the social norm. Hate is taught, not inherent. And this song gives those hate mongers the fangs and claws that they deserve. Killer track. Number 10. So there's this genre of music I like to call thespian core. It essentially encompasses music that you'd either associate with musical theater, rock opera, or what have you, or the people you'd think would be captured by it. Marianas Trench, AJR, both mentioned throughout this video, are great examples of it. Recently I even touched on thespian core in my album exchange, specifically when referring to Miracle Musical. And this year I learned that Miracle Musical is also known for another project called Tally Hall. Let me just go ahead and say that while theatercore at its worst is whatever the hell this is from the Rugrats movie.
Man, they cut my cord.
Oh, consider yourself lucky.
But at its best,
And the rain came down that day, and it
Spring in a Storm is such a catchy song that I would actually consider the magnum opus of Tally Hall, with a timeless melody that gets stuck in your head very easily, and with a lot of self-realization and making peace with the nature of the universe that some of y'all saw firsthand from me this year. Stay tuned for that video essay, by the way. This song was a great soundtrack for that newfound inner peace. Amazing track, check it out if you haven't yet. Number 9. I am sorry to say we cannot sum up 2024 without talking about the elephant in the room, and by that I am referring to the US election, with which I did not express many feelings or thoughts on here other than me trying to signal boost some fundraisers in my previous album exchange, but I truly did struggle with it. I shut down emotionally the last few days beforehand, wanting to just hermit and keep to myself and not really talk to anybody. But in my fitness class on election day, an hour before the polls began to close, I found a song that truly spoke to me and gave me comfort, and I knew right away it'd be pretty high up on this list.
With the hearts of heroes and wings like doves, and we can fly away, break through the clouds above. Come again, bright days, come again, when you're good to go.
Specifically this exact lyric.
It's good you're scared, it means you care.
Wow, that cuts deep, man. I think I set a personal record for most times listened in a 4-day stretch with this. It was so soothing and comforting to me in a very trying time. And I know I sound like a broken record with me going on about choruses and hooks and stuff, but this is the best chorus melody I heard in 2024, period. If you like stuff like, say, Nickel Creek or Jason Isbell, or maybe one of the 6 people who looked up that Reed Stripling song I ranked in my top 25 last year, I highly recommend this gorgeous little indie folk album. Number 8. Top 10, 3 years in the top 10. As with a lot of Hannah's songs, this song has a slow build, starting with that brittle muted piano and eventually growing and building into a wave of synth and glitched percussion for the incredible payoff in the second chorus. This song follows the story of a past crush that, since transitioning, Hannah is remembering with the longing that she had been ready, been her true self in that moment. Anyways, let's see what Hannah herself says about this track. I wanted to write a simple piano part like Night Swimming by R.E.M. and a very terse mountain goatsy melody. Think the title track from Tallahassee. I just met someone who grew up where I did, and she was moving across the country to be with her boyfriend. Naturally, I reference Hammond's song by the Rochers, which I hadn't heard until around when I wrote this song. I wrote Flight about wishing I could have known her when I was younger, but knowing that her departure is for the best and that I need to move on too. Also, some stuff about my time as a depressed teenage egg in there. She's a songwriter too, so thankfully she wasn't weirded out when I sent her the track. Number 7. You know you're getting old when all of your favorite bands are no longer together, or are old enough that they went down the right-wing conspiracy rabbit holes. But yeah, the Delgados, Fair to Midland, both I would never expect another album from. But what of 8 Stop 7, my 3rd favorite band of all time? They never exactly broke up, and back like 8 years ago were teasing a potential 5th record. I mean, yeah, labels are the antithesis of good music. So I was looking up lead singer Evan Suligoff to see if he's been doing anything, and it turns out he's a music teacher now. But I also found his Bandcamp page for a side project called 7, and what do you know, there's a few tracks here I'd never heard.
How will define how we settled out right, how we organized.
Sometimes the best kept secrets are the ones you gotta dig for, and god damn did I hit the jackpot with this soulful acoustic track. The guitar chords are very nice, but the star of the show here is Evan's voice, which can do the late 90s alt-rock portrayal while still maintaining the singer-songwriter sincerity and smoothness. You know, unlike Scott Stapp of Creed, who can't even sing about the birth of his own child unless he's passing a kidney stone. See, we let Theory of a Dead Man, or I guess Theory now, get famous, but not this band, who actually wrote meaningful alt-rock with depth? Y'all suck. Number 6. If there's one thing I recognize about social media is that if you throw enough darts at the dartboard, eventually one will land on a bullseye. But you may have a few that miss the mark entirely trying to get that bullseye. Some posts will age well and others will age poorly. So that is to say that when I made this post, boy, I was way off. Are y'all kidding me? This is the least played track from Ghost Town Road? My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Anyways, this song to me parallels right with a song from last year's list, Running in the Roar of the Wind by the Menzingers. Worn out, weary acceptance of the will of the universe, but I guess with a touch more optimistic nihilism with the bitterness in the title. This song is an absolute bop with an amazing anthemic hook, then a killer outro to wrap it all up. Some artists fall off when they mature as a band, but some, like Smallpools, get better with age. Number 5. I really try to write segues for every song in my top 20. This year has proven challenging, as I have 2 songs in my top 5 that I straight up do not have segues for, so let's not waste any time.
And I know you will be riding shotgun in my car for the getaway, cutting through the brake lights summer.
I think I'm starting to see why music reviewers online aren't fully honest about their top picks. It doesn't make for interesting commentary. Like, can a song just be reviewed as follows? This song is good. I like it a lot. I love the higher register delivery of Shotgun in My Car and I'm Lost, and this might be some of Chris Crabbe's best vocal work to date. Among the best from the band. This rocks. Number 4. Just want to say, y'all voted against this for a con music video. The irony is I end up choosing a Canadian artist for that music video, but this was the track I played on repeat on my plane ride back. The double time percussion on the hook and the brittle belting of Alone that just barely clips the mix. The slight reverb on at the end of Tonight, and the hushed and somewhat sensual delivery of the verses are a great goddamn aesthetic. Lots of great imagery here too. Anyways, final guest commentary of the episode here. Tarukai, what do you think about Pink Light?
Breakups hurt. This retro-style gem is a big from-the-heart cry of the very real pain and dwelling from a one-sided relationship ending. Loathing to wake up, to be pulled from the dreams where all the what-ifs can be explored. If only the person you left could have just have seen this one moment, this one feeling, maybe they'd have stuck around. The yearning to rewind and see how that could change the course of what you miss and pine for. An evocative song that's got me looking forward to more from Muna.
Number 3. To make this abundantly clear, I am not white in the disrespectful way. I am white as a declaration of self-ownership. I own my white boy syndrome, because anything else would not have put this track here.
It's an airless black has on. You turn the airlock on. You turn the airlock on. Object is
This caught me way off guard, especially in the build-up to the second hook with the growing vocals, a dramatic swell that pays off in the rhythmic chant of a chorus. Again, I understand his voice and style aren't for everyone, but like I said before, you can keep your dreamland. I'll stay here in space. Number 2. Like I said, furry music has been so goddamn great lately. But how did we get here? How did I suddenly just this year find so much furry music when it's actually been here for years? So there's this Spotify playlist called Indie Anthro, and I threw it on one day, and I was just adding so much to my liked songs off of that list. But I think I got a little spoiled on it, and I got stuck comparing, because the second song that played was this. Furries don't be afraid of anthemic sing-along choruses and pop song structures challenge. Not all of y'all can make a Gravity by Eden, but then again, y'all impressed the fuck out of me this year, so you know what? Ignore my advice, just keep doing what y'all are doing. This just goes so hard with those infectious keys to start and the liberal use of snare. Kendall's vocals are so good in this as well. But the verses and chorus here, that's lightning in a bottle. You don't write something this earwormy every day. This was a spring jam for me, and it's still on my playlist to this day. So, what could be better? Number 1. So, full disclosure, I lied. And I lied on purpose to all of y'all. I mentioned earlier that it felt like we had a weaker field of songs this year. Like, we had a ton of 8th best songs of the year, but no real songs I can defend as number 1. And yeah, that is true, and that's the case here. I don't really know how I can defend this. It's not particularly original or outstanding. It's not breaking any new ground or way better than it has any right to be, like last year's number 1 Hotel Room. It doesn't have any personal, deep meaning to myself, like 2022's top song, but I don't think my audience ever really vibes with my number 1 anyway. But again, I am lying. because the song that I have squatting at my number 1 on this list isn't even my true number 1. I had to choose. Do I change my own rules on recurrent songs, or do I lie and put something in first place that isn't very first placey? So I chose the latter, to keep my rules consistent and retain some shred of credibility with my own rules. But let's be real, I think I copped out. I called this last year when I revealed it on that list, and it's not that every other song wasn't as good this year, it's that they were all forced to compare to this. Huh, would you look at that? Yeah, this wasn't even remotely close either. I listened to Face Off twice as much as any other song on here. In this wild and changing year, this was the only real constant. Turns out I'm also in the top 0.005% of listeners worldwide for this track. Considering the song has only like 24,000 plays, far more than I thought, by the way, I'd expect that I am, without a doubt, the top listener of this track in the world. Anyways, I put a deep cut from the Bayside album at number 1. Hey, this rocks, and I will hear no arguments otherwise. The best pop-punk anthem I've heard since Brave Faces Everyone. Yes, I know his vocal delivery sounds a little like SpongeBob on tea. Yes, I know the pop song structure is overdone, and everybody does it. Yes, I know it's not exactly the most risk-taking or original song ever, but god damn it, I headbanged so hard when the chorus kicked in. And I love Anthony Ranieri's flawed and brittle vocals, especially on the hushed post-bridge chorus. It's truly a killer pop-punk track. It is the best song I heard in 2024, if you don't count Face Off. Anyways, that's my list. Disagree? Tough cookies, it's my list. But please feel free to take your disagreements to the comment section as it helps the algorithm. Share your list in the comments too. And like I said, this video won't be monetized, so I highly encourage tipping if you're able. My Coffee and PayPal are in the description, or if you feel compelled enough with what we're doing here, run on over to my Patreon and join as a member here. Tons of perks available, such as name in the credits, access to a private Discord server, access to cute little emotes during live streams, all the way up to short requests and guaranteed collab slots. Can't make a financial contribution? That's a-okay and completely relatable. Drop a comment, like, share, and subscribe for more cool stuff. New video essay coming soon, and it's a big one. But as always, I hope you have a great 2025, and take it wheezy.